Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins love to be spoiled. So don't forget to spoil Mum this Mother's Day with the huge range of big brand fragrances at the lowest prices at Chemist Warehouse. Shop in-store or online now. It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
A very good morning and welcome. Welcome to your Monday.
Hey.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, great. How are
That's
you?
good. Yeah, going well. I'm
Big
going
weekend?
good. Yes, it was a good weekend. I spent most of my weekend crying into my sandwiches over Fremantle getting obliterated on.
Oh, did it not go well?
It was bad. It was bad.
I'm sorry to
It was
hear
so
that.
bad. That's okay.
Who were you playing?
With the Saints. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was terrible.
Do you find it hard to be the on-ground announcer and bigging everyone up when things are not going well?
When it's a bad game. Now, they played away, so they played over in Melbourne. Right.
Okay.
Yes, which, the distance was probably good. But when we're having a bad night at the home ground at Optus Stadium,
Yep.
yeah, I find it really hard to
You're just
pick
like,
up the
let's
crowd.
not talk about the footy. How are your parents?
Yeah,
How's things at school?
Yeah, 60,000 people is like I've become their psychologist. Let's go. Your weekend was very interesting.
Great weekend.
You went out on the town.
Well, I went and saw You Am I performing. Haven't seen them in ages and loved it. That was brilliant. Loved the live gig. And then last night backed it up by going to see Guy Montgomery, the comedian for Perth Comedy Fest.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
He's so funny. I loved it. Had a great time.
You Am I at the clubs? I
I have not been to Metro's Frio in over 20 years.
20 years. They still serving Midori shakers or what? Are they?
I didn't go for a Midori shaker.
Didn't you? I
No.
remember if you went to Metro's in Fremantle back in the day and you bought a Midori shaker, you were the king or queen of that place.
I understand why. And, there was a brief moment, though, on the weekend when I did order a pink gin and they said, we'll just have to wait. We have to go get it. And I was like, what are you doing? Go to the local bottle-o. Like, how does a club run out of gin?
Also, that one pink gin is now as much as what that Midori shaker used to be
the
back in the day.
$25 Midori shaker.
Amazing stuff. Hey, look, we are up and about for a big Monday, massive Monday today. In fact, we are going to get to know our couple that kicks things off this week for the wedding you built.
Lisa and Josh have been brave enough to let us really marry them legally on air. It's a proper full legal wedding, except they have absolutely no say in any part of the wedding. They don't get to choose where it is, what they're wearing, absolutely nothing, because you, the listener, are going to make those decisions for them.
Yep. Now, we introduced you to them in our way. Late in the show last week, so we'll bring you that coming up inside the next 15 minutes, but they will be in here. We will be getting to know them. Their stories are incredible.
It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
The HBF run for a reason. Hey, we'll see you there Sunday the 25th of May. There are so many people that are running, walking, all of the things, wheeling for so many incredible reasons, and we're actually catching up with quite a few of them to hear about their, in most cases, tragic circumstances and stories.
Yeah, it's been tough, isn't it? I mean, we team up and we do this HBF Run for a Reason every year, and we create these shortcasts, like a little podcast where we put people's interviews in there, all the reasons that they're running. And these people are so interesting. And we met with Tina last week, and Tina was telling us the story of her husband, Todd. And we were so moved by what she said that we wanted to share some of it on air with you. Tina was telling us how her husband, Todd, has been diagnosed with motor neurone disease, which we know is a terminal illness.
Yep, no way out.
And she is running for him and to raise funds for the MND Association of Western Australia.
Todd is 51, so he was diagnosed or had first symptoms starting just over a year ago, just around his 50th birthday. And in that year has just gone from being supremely fit. He's been a runner, he's around Perth his whole life, a cyclist. He's a canine dog handler with the WA Police. He's been with the police for 30 years. And, now he's almost confined to bed. It has just absolutely ravaged his body in such a short period of time. And so... he's my absolute reason to run, and I just think, I've never really taken my mobility for granted at all, but seeing Todd robbed of the use of his legs so quickly. Actually, it was just around, we just kind of found out that it was motor neuron, what we were looking at, around last year's race. And so, I don't know, I just kind of thought I'd use our love of running in the running community to really highlight what motor neuron is, because a lot of people still don't know what it is. Todd's diagnosis has really affected a lot of people, and it's terrible. You know, we do really go day by day. Seeing him lose the ability to do things is just as bad as getting the diagnosis. You know, this fit, strong man now becoming more and more reliant on myself and the girls is heartbreaking. He hates it. And just, you know, him losing that spark. Todd was someone who just said yes to every opportunity that was thrown in front of him over his, 51 years, and just is a lover of life. And so he just feels like he's kind of a bystander now. So that's heartbreaking. And I've just got really good at crying and then pulling myself together and moving on. And it's so hard. It's so grim. I wish that I didn't know what it was. Some days I don't want to be an adult. I just want to put my head under the doona and pretend that I didn't know what motor neuron was. But another reason why I wanted to do the HBF Run for a reason is to raise awareness for it, because people when they were hearing about Todd, thought it was MS, and MS is an autoimmune disease. So it's actually educating people to know what motor neuron is and that, it's life-ending. And so they call it the 27-month disease. So it's different for all people, and I'm just going to talk about our experience. But one of the first things the neurologist said to us was, you've got 1 to 5 years, get your affairs in order and go and make some memories.
Wow.
And so,
God, how final.
Yeah, so get your affairs in order and make memories.
Jeez.
I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah, that is the question, isn't it? How do you do that?
Even 1 to 5 years, they're saying that this has been about a year for them, this journey.
Yeah.
And that he's bedridden.
Oh, it's horrific.
It is just devastating.
But it is certainly a podcast that you need to go and listen to, amongst a heap of others, the people that we're speaking to and their tragic stories. And it'll get you inspired. It really will, to get yourself out of bed and there for the HBF Run for a reason. It returns Sunday the 25th of May. This year it's all about your reason, and absolutely, you just heard us speak to Tina and a heap of others at the Pete and Kymba podcast on Listener. You can go and check it out now.
It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
On Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins, it's yay or nay.
Just quickly before we say good morning, producer Rami.
Good morning.
Pete, how do you feel when Rami walks into the room and says, as we're putting our headphones on, apologies in advance? What does that make you think? Do you think... Have you just started ignoring his apologies?
You know when the Hulk says his secret is he's always angry?
Yeah.
I'm always worried. I'm always anxious.
Producer
and
Rami,
ready.
hit us with some
And I directed
nay.
this apology to you, Kymba, specifically. You'll see why in a second. First one, standing at a concert.
3, 2, 1.
Yay.
Yay. Nay. Look, I'm going to say nay. It's a nay. I did it on the weekend.
You stood at a concert. Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
was at UMI on the weekend and I
Okay.
loved it and I had a dance. But if you can't dance and you can't move, I'm at the age now where I'm seizing up the back.
Right.
Because if you're sitting down...
I'll happily sit for a gig. I don't need to be in the mosh pit anymore. Those days have gone.
Yeah, I got to be at the right concert. Ed Sheeran and Coldplay stood for the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
I thought you were going to say Ed Sheeran is the one gig I'd be sitting
I
down
thought you would
for.
sit down for that.
It was fantastic. It was so good, and every song was a banger, so it was great.
So
but
for Ed Sheeran and Coldplay you stand for, who do
Yeah.
you sit for?
I sat
Oh,
for
you-
Pink. Yeah,
Sounds
I sat for Pink.
You know, when you
yeah.
hear Lego House, doesn't it really
Opposite.
make you get on your feet?
Oh, it was beautiful.
Gosh. Well, imagine
The arms
standing
around
at a
the string.
concert. Did you hear what happened over the weekend?
No, what?
Imagine
what do you mean?
standing at a concert with 2.1 million people.
I did hear about this
Lady
actually.
Gaga.
Where did they fit
So she
2.1 million
a
people?
concert in Rio de Janeiro,
Yeah.
Brazil, the biggest concert in the world ever. 2.1 million people.
But where I got to find out where they did this and what it
That's
looks
some
like.
Some
amazing.
park. But guess what happened? So this is breaking news this morning.
Stampede.
No.
Bomb threat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So apparently police foiled a bomb threat and nothing happened, of course. It's all fine. They didn't tell Gaga or anyone until after the fact, of
It was
course.
called Operation Fake Monster.
We wouldn't want to warn anyone.
Was it really?
Yes, it was. No, legitimately. I'm not joking. That's not a
genius.
joke. It was called
The
Operation
police
Fake
department
Monster.
are clearly fans of Gaga.
Yeah, because of her little
Wow.
monsters.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, second one, going for a walk after dinner.
Going for a fart walk.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. I hit the wrong thing.
2, 1.
Yay.
Yay.
Well, look, I don't do it
Furiously.
often. I don't do it often, but I will admit, I went to a friend's house. We had this brilliant idea to do dessert dinners. So what we do is we get together annually and we only make desserts and we
Okay.
eat it for every course. So,
Right.
Genius.
That sounds
well, we
great.
thought it was a great idea. The first year, we really overdid it. And all of us were like, we all need to go for a
Sugar
walk.
crash.
Every single one of us has to get out of this house because we were a disaster.
Yeah. Well, they're saying... Yeah, go on.
I know this story you're about to talk about.
Okay.
And
So I apologise to Kymba, right?
I apologise to Kymba in advance. But I do this.
Go for a walk after dinner.
Yeah, but for this reason.
Have you felt the health benefits?
Absolutely.
So, Kymba, just so you know, they're saying going for a walk after dinner gives you improvement in so many different aspects of your life.
I think it just
including-
removes the guilt of how much you just
Correct.
digest it.
Correct. But also, it does lower the risk of type 2 diabetes and just makes you live longer.
Oh.
But what do they call it?
Now I'm worried. Go.
Press play.
Going for a fart walk after dinner is something that's going to help you age wonderfully. And if you follow me, you know that my husband and I go out for fart walks most nights after dinner.
Should we go for a fart walk?
It's disgusting. It's just the word itself.
I was telling producer Brooke this, and she goes, "Oh my god, me and my family do this every night."
Yeah, it's
in my
great.
neighbourhood, everyone goes for a walk. Can you imagine couples all over the neighbourhood just going?
And why would you call it that? Why can't you just go for a walk? Why does it have to have that attached?
It's not the same.
Because it gets us talking about it. I love
yeah.
fart walks.
Yeah.
It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
Pete and Kymba show with Ben Cousins. He's here.
In Western Australian radio, footy players with media experience are considered especially valuable. Now Pete and Kymba can proudly tout that this radio program has an AFL Premiership and Brownlow medal between the three hosts. But mainly, Ben Cousins. This is his segment opener.
Hey, Ben.
Good morning. Gracie Abrams. She's coming to Perth, I think,
Is she really?
apparently.
Look at you. Look at you being across all of the...
Oh, well, it's... The kids tell me about this, see?
yeah, I'm the
That's
same.
good. I haven't got kids to bring this information in, so I'm relying on the two of you to keep us up to date.
Trying to source tickets.
Have you? Really? Do you reckon we could help out? Is there any way we could get in touch with Gracie Abrams? Does that
Don't
work
waste
for
your
us
time.
anymore?
I know that back in the day, working in radio was glamorous and they used to give us tickets to stuff and we had contacts. Those days are done.
Yeah, long gone.
I have been paying for concert tickets for years.
You're lucky we don't even get movie passes anymore.
We get
do
nothing.
Yeah, well,
We used to rock
things
up.
have dried up with me too, I can give you the big tip.
We did. We used to rock up and a movie pass would be sitting on our desk.
Yeah. Ben, did you manage to get to the election on the weekend? Sorted that little situation out?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Do you know, you missed the very awkward situation with Anthony Albanese coming into our studio last week.
Oh, you
missed it.
certainly did. Yeah.
He was in the building I was here the last time he was here.
Well, you
but I
interviewed him.
didn't No, I
No, he
It
didn't.
wasn't. Oh no, hang on a sec. That was state, wasn't it? It wasn't
but
federal.
he was...
But it was a
in the
weird. I
building.
saw that introduction. I was there when Albo looked at Ben. Ben looked at Albo, and Albo put his hand out and went, "Ben, Albo."
Yeah.
And it was just this weird, like, oh, you two have met. This first
We
time you're
have
meeting, but
met,
you like,
yes.
But this was. You should have seen this. It was on Friday, wasn't it, when he was in here?
yeah, because we don't have any political alliances, despite the fact that people have accused me on the reg of being too left or being too right. I can never really. Other people decide for me, apparently, where I sit.
Yeah.
But I would consider myself apolitical. I'm just friendly to people who come in, and if they're not jerks, then great.
Yeah.
And Albo has created quite a good relationship with me and Pete over the years because we've always he's a nice person. When he comes in, we get along fine, right? Policies aside.
Yeah.
He comes in and he's nice. But we decided on this show a year or more ago that like we're not going to do politics anymore because we don't care. And we're sort of like, we can't get them to talk about
Well, this is the
what
issue
we want
that,
them to,
and
right?
we've said this. The issue we've got is when you get them on, You don't get the human side of just being able to answer the question. You get the political side of the platforms. And also, but if you don't and you just try to have a bit of fun with them, then you're not doing your audience any justice because they want to hear about the things that are affecting themselves in their lives every day. You
So
know?
we just felt like we couldn't win and we just said, well, let's just not have any politicians on the show. But Albo came in here the other day thinking he was coming in for an interview and we were like, no, you can't come in here. And
He didn't come in here thinking he was coming in for it. He barged in here.
You barred him.
Because he walked in with all of his people.
And he had all these camera crews and everyone was
Yep.
there filming and we were like, we're not talking to you.
And he's like, oh, come on, you can get me on for a few minutes and stuff like that. Sorry, mate, we can't. We've got to do the wedding you built. Like, that's coming up in just a pause. I felt bad.
It's awkward because we've had this long-term, like, known him for ages and when he walks in now, we just wave from afar.
Not many people get to exclude
The Prime Minister.
do they?
Yeah.
Not many.
But it's, as Kymba said, it's not out of disrespect or anything. It's just because, either way, it's kind of a lose-lose situation getting
Can't
him on
win.
and chatting politics,
Yeah.
Anyway.
That is extraordinary.
Yeah, but look, he's going to be everywhere and for the next 3 years because it was a landslide victory and Dutton lost his seat. He couldn't believe it.
It's just embarrassing, isn't it?
Unbelievable stuff.
It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
Life can be so unpredictable, especially when that's the aim of this game. So we're asking, what happens next?
Time for What Happens Next, where we bring you the beginning of a story. We play it out. The three of us have a bit of a chat as to where this story might go, and usually it goes somewhere where it knocks our head off, but we'll see today.
We're always nervous.
Yeah. Although, producer Brooke, how are we feeling about today's stories? Because we understand you got a bit of a talking to last week.
I did, apparently a bit too dark. But look, someone wrote in and said they're loving it as well. So, we'll see. I'll either go passive-aggressively light or darker than you can even imagine.
Okay.
Anything could happen.
I like that it's unexpected. But we just still have to go in with some sort of this could be a trigger warning. We don't know.
We have no idea. All right, well, let's get stuck into the first one. So this is the beginning of the story.
A struggling single mother was at the grocery store counting change to buy formula. A man behind her in line noticed her distress and paid for her groceries. He even handed her $100 and said,
"Take care of your baby."
"What happened next?"
Oh, okay. The way that this is just the way that I'm feeling.
So weird. Take care of your baby.
I reckon he ended up following her and kidnapping the baby.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, I think she just broke down in tears and said, thanks so much. This is just going to really help me out.
What do you reckon, Benny?
Or I reckon as they walked out of the shop, he gets arrested and apparently robbed the 7-Eleven down the road.
Right.
Yeah, it's easier to give away money when it's not yours.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Much easier.
Oh, well, let's find out.
The next day, she saw the same man on the local news being arrested for embezzling millions from a children's charity. He had used the money to support a lavish lifestyle and occasional acts of kindness to ease his guilt.
Well, mate, not too far off from that one.
That's pretty close.
Yes, it was only on the weekend a friend of mine was telling me that he gave his young fella $20 to buy a hot dog after his game of footy, and they didn't take cash. It was only card, and he said, "What about I just give you the 20 and you can keep the change?" So he came back and gave the old man no change. He said, "Sorry,
Yep. There you go.
Same sort of situation. Very easy to
sweet.
give the old man's 20 away
All right.
when it's not yours."
Next story. Let's take a listen to this.
A new mother began hearing strange noises over the baby monitor. Not crying, but whispers. She assumed it was static. What happened next?
Wow.
Scares the hell out of me, this does. Someone's been living in the attic.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah, or the basement, or...
I can tell Ben's got questions.
Yeah,
What's your
you look
question,
like
Ben?
you've got
So
questions.
that it was whispers over the baby monitor.
Yeah, so there's the baby monitor. She's watching the baby monitor and occasionally would hear whispers coming through the baby monitor, which I feel like I assume there's somebody living in the house and they don't know anything about it.
I think she hears her name very clearly said by her own dead mother.
No! All right. Do you want to have a throw at the stumps or am I just going to reveal this story?
I think it's the crossing of frequencies. picks up something in the TV or something.
Oh, okay. All right, hang
It's
on.
nothing paranormal at all.
Let's have a listen.
One night, she walked into the nursery and saw the baby monitor slowly rotating, as if someone was controlling it remotely. Investigators later discovered the monitor had been hacked, and someone had been watching and talking through it. They never identified the hacker. The horror? They had access for months.
My
The
goodness.
horror is the way he pronounces that word.
Yeah.
It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
Dear Kymba.
All right. This one's really brief. I'm just going to get stuck into it. Need some advice. Stephen has written this one. I don't want to go to my high school reunion because I feel like I haven't made it.
Oh, God, Stephen.
Should I force myself to go anyway? I've kept some friends from school, but nobody I'm that keen to see. Stephen.
Jeez, it was short and sharp, wasn't it?
Direct.
Huh.
This is a tough one because, I mean, I think that's why people think they're going back to reunions. They think that they have to go back and be successful.
Yeah.
Or that they have something to prove. The good thing about being out of high school is that no one cares about the social hierarchy anymore.
Oh, some people still do.
Yeah, but those people, do you know...
You don't really care about them, but there are some people who go back to the reunion going, I wonder where I'm going to sit in amongst all of this again.
I know, but I suppose that's what I wish everyone would let go of. You know, I will say to teenagers, and when I was a high school teacher, I'm like, I get that it's hard, right? That's their whole lives. If they go through a breakup at that time, their whole life comes crashing down, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If whatever they're feeling is the biggest they could ever feel, right? Because that's their entire life at that age.
I think it stays with you.
And it does, but I also encourage them to know that, like, when you get out of school, you find out who you really are. So whatever you're going through, whatever you're dealing with, if you haven't found your tribe, if you haven't got your right friends yet, it's okay. You will find them when you get out of high school.
Yeah.
High school locks you into these weird social hierarchies that are hard to escape from. And so I did not go to my first reunion because I was like, I've only been out for 10 years. I still remember you all. I would rather go when we don't know anyone anymore.
Yeah.
I went to the 20-year reunion because I wanted to find my friend Helen, who I'd lost touch with.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I was like, I'm going for Helen. Anything else that comes out of it is a bonus.
Yeah. Did you go to your 40-year reunion?
Shut up. I'm not. Do you know what? I'm not even going to do the math. It might be 5 years away. I don't know.
Did you go to your reunions, Benny?
I just went to one recently.
Did you really? Which one? The one for high school or what?
Yeah, for high school.
No kidding. How was that?
It was great.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm really glad I went. I wasn't wrapped about the number, the reunion number.
Oh, like how many years it had been?
It made me feel sick.
Yeah,
it really
right.
did.
Yeah, okay.
And for that reason, it was hanging over my head about going, but I'm so glad I did.
Can I ask a question, though? For you personally, I mean, lots of reasons to go back if in case like Stephen, where he's like, I'm not sure I've made it. Now, you have a lot of successes in your life. You've also had some not successful and some not great times. Yeah. Does it make you nervous about going into an environment like that where people might feel like they know you and they might address you like they know you, or they're asking questions or they're too curious about you? Did you have to deal with all that before you went back?
Listen, that's probably an environment where, you know, these guys do know me, you know, and it goes right back to the beginning. So, you know, there's plenty of reasons why, like you say, I could go, but there's plenty of reasons why I maybe couldn't go or shouldn't go. But I think you've got to try and look past that, and, you know, I think.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
You did.
Yeah.
You had a good time.
Yeah, it was good.
I haven't been back to mine. My 10-year, 20-year.
Is that because you're still all related to everybody?
No,
all
no.
friends on Facebook?
No, I'm too successful for those plebs.
I think, like,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I used to joke in high school saying I would never go back unless I was able to come in on a chopper because I wanted to be successful enough to go in on a helicopter. That is never
would be
ever
cool.
happening. But 131060, should Stephen go to his reunion? I want to hear good or bad stories about people who had this situation where you would genuinely not sure whether you wanted to go back or not.
Yep.
Should you go to your high school reunion?
When you're at high school, you're filled with so many things about how your future is going to pan out. Like, I remember when I was in high school, I was actively saying to my dad, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm think it was 25. I said, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to be a millionaire.
You didn't realise it just meant that like everything's going to cost $1 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
You were sort of there.
But the aspirations that you have, and I think, people hold on to those deeply, because you do. You have these incredible aspirations about who you're going to be, what you're going to do, this great success. And for some people, going back effectively with your tail between your legs a little bit is going to be bloody hard.
See, I don't know. I'm a bit more pragmatic about it. I sort of feel like I don't have anything to prove to you. What we have in common is that our parents bought a house in the same suburb.
And I
went to a
should
public
try and
school.
Keep it that simple.
Yeah.
It should be that simple, hey?
I was like, we're not all going to be best friends. We're not all going to have stuff in common. It's just that your folks got a house in Leeming and so did my folks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And if you fall into that other type of thinking, you've got to check yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that.
Yeah, just be you. Go on your journey and be you.
You be you, boo. Siri's been floating around checking Reddit to see some of these school
When did we
reunion
start relying
stories.
on Siri?
She's fantastic.
I don't trust her.
She's amazing. She's found this one on Reddit. Let's take a listen.
I had some surprises at my 20-year reunion. The guy who got arrested for underage drinking 3 times is now a cop. The girl who couldn't form a coherent sentence is now a teacher. The super genius is living in poverty because he decided to move to Costa Rica to save the rainforest. The golden child is now in prison for assault.
See, you just don't know how it's going to turn out.
Exactly, yeah.
Just go back and tell them you invented Post-it notes.
It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins presents The Wedding You Built.
It's a love story, baby, just say yeah.
Well, here we are with The Wedding You Built, all right? And it is time to meet the couple who will be going through the entire process of this incredible thing that we get to do. So great to have you both on the show, and welcome to The Wedding You Built. Lisa and Josh, hello.
Hi, how you going?
It is so good to have you here. We have done weddings for the last 2 years and just thought, what other couples are going to be mad enough to put...
Yeah, well, that's us.
Definitely us, yeah.
I get the impression you guys are a couple of go-getters.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
always
yeah.
always up for anything, and I'm always the last one standing. For sure.
He really is.
Fantastic.
Well, we need everybody to get to know you because everybody in WA is going to be following your journey and getting to know you and your family all the way to the aisle where you will be legally married by me.
Yeah, sweet.
Yay.
And then after that, it's like legit.
Yeah.
Proper married.
Now, when you guys say you're up for anything,
Yeah.
what proper mean anything?
Yeah, pretty much game for anything. I'm game for anything.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Because the wedding you built, for those of you that are listening who have only just caught on to this, is we're going to throw every aspect of your wedding out to the people listening to this show to vote on it.
The venue,
That's gonna
the
be
rings,
so much fun.
what
Yeah.
you're wearing. You will have zero control
Yeah, that's
over
the
your own
exciting
wedding.
part, that's for
That's
sure.
the best thing about it, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, literally.
Yep.
Why
Okay,
not?
well, let's talk about what we know about you so far. So, Lisa, you're 41.
Yeah.
Josh, you're 35.
Yep.
How did you meet?
On Facebook.
Yeah. social,
Oh,
singles, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I became single at one point and, decided to get back into the game, I would say. And, I put a few posts up online and Lisa ended up,
How long have you been together?
nearly 3 years.
Nearly 3 years now.
Okay, great. How long have you been engaged?
Since the 15th of February this year.
Yeah, so not long, yeah.
Nice and early.
Yeah, nice and early.
We booked horse riding up in Jarradale Hills.
Yeah.
And took her horse riding, and at the top of the hill, ended up whipping out a ring and saying, "Will you marry me?"
Yeah.
Real.
Unexpected for you, Lisa?
Completely unexpected. I was just excited that we were going horse riding, to be honest. Like, I had no idea what was going to happen. Apparently, my kids did.
Yeah.
But, I thought we told each other everything. But, yeah,
Oh,
no,
they kept
they kept a secret. I
Wow.
don't know how.
Well, let's talk about your kids because, okay, so Lisa, you've got a couple of kids.
I have 4 kids, yeah.
Four kids. And I believe that you too, Josh, you've got kids.
Yeah, I got twin girls.
So we've got a blended family now, 6
do.
children.
Yep.
That is
Definitely.
huge.
Yeah.
And
good
lots
fun.
of fur children.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got 3 dogs.
Okay.
And 2 cats.
Wow.
This is a full house.
Yeah,
Very
pretty
full.
much.
Do you guys like noise?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So your kids range from the ages of 9 through to 22.
that's right.
Right. Wow.
So 22.
Yeah.
You're quite a young-looking lady.
Thank
Not going to
you
lie.
so
And,
much.
and also, like, I mean, you're 41, but so you've had kids that, like, you were quite young.
Yeah, I was 19 when I fell pregnant with my first boy, but I was ready. When some people that fall pregnant early aren't so much ready, I think I was.
Yeah, nice.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Now, look, there's so much other stuff about you guys that we're going to get to know over our time with you, including the eclectic mix of the fact that you love Star Wars, Lucifer, and country music. Which
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean you love Lucifer?
Oh,
It's a TV show.
It's a TV
Yeah.
show.
Oh.
Not as in.
As if that wasn't weird. I love how eclectic all of this sounds. This wedding could go
And Pokemon.
absolutely anywhere.
I hope so.
But I do.
Absolutely could.
Your first date. Now, this is interesting because this is very successful. Like, what happened on your first date?
Well, we did plan to go out to the pub for dinner. So Lisa was going to come to my house at the time and meet me there, and then we were going to go from there. And next minute, we didn't end up going to the pub and end up making the bed.
Okay, so let's say the
You get
attraction
what I
was
mean.
instant.
Instant, yeah.
We had been seeing each other for a couple of weeks prior to that.
Or talking.
Just talking and a couple of meetups and stuff.
But as soon as you got the opportunity, it was on.
Yes.
Cue your Marvin Gaye track over here. It is very clear that true love blossomed that day.
That's for sure.
It
And
really did.
here we are. We are so looking forward to marrying you guys. Now, Pete said there is a lot more to this story, and we want to come back and talk to you about the fact that, Lisa, you've been engaged before.
I have, yes.
You were nearly married, but
Yeah.
you didn't quite get there.
No, I didn't.
It's a wild story that unravelled 4 days away from the wedding. Hang around.
It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins presents The Wedding You Built.
It's a love story, baby, just say
Yes, it is the wedding you built, and we've just started getting to know our couple who will be going through this. So, and look, you listening to this show right now, a lot of this involves you, all right? Really tune in on this because every aspect of this wedding between Lisa and Josh, you're going to vote on. And one of the things that we were told about you two, by the way, is that in the interviews that we did with all of the couples that had registered for this competition, to get married on our show for this, you guys actually said to the producers that you thought the last time we did this and the last weddings we'd had were actually quite tame and could have gone up a level.
Yeah.
Right, so as far as the things that we're going to get the people listening to this show to vote on about your wedding, don't worry. We are going to go up a level.
Good.
All right. But we are getting to know you guys, and this story from you, Lisa, about your ex is just stunning. It stunned us. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, so, 5 days before the wedding, I'd just finished the seating plan, and his mum wasn't happy with it, so he got me to change it all. So she wanted to sit with all her friends, not the family, like a traditional wedding could be. And so I finished doing all of that, and the next day, so 4 days before the wedding, he just turned around to me and said he doesn't think he loves me and that we can't get married. We didn't fight, and that's the thing. We didn't fight, we didn't argue. He just decided that it was too much for him.
That would have been a devastating blow.
Yeah, it was.
4 days out from the wedding.
Yeah, and I didn't understand at the time, but I understand now, if that makes sense.
What would have made that 1,000 times worse is that you were pregnant.
I was 16 weeks pregnant with my boy Caden, yeah.
Wow.
That would have been quite a difficult thing for you to recover from.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine having to call the people that you love to tell them what had happened.
Yeah, my Auntie Flo flew over from England and she was already here. So, yeah, it was devastating to have to tell everyone. It's just made me who I am to be able to find this amazing human, you know.
Well, now you understand it in a weird sort of way. What do you mean by that?
He got cold feet. Everything was going. His life was changing. I was his first ever serious relationship. Then all of a sudden we were moving in together. Then all of a sudden we were pregnant. And then, you know, everything just got too much for him, and I think he freaked out. Doesn't make it right, but
but
it makes it easier to deal with. Yeah.
These things happen. Now, something else that we have learned about you guys in this process that you've been willing to share with others is that when we're putting together the guest list, and I think you probably get to have about 50 people at your wedding or something, we usually keep it pretty tight.
Yep.
But during this process, when we've married other couples on air, we've met their parents, we've talked to their parents, but you guys tell us that you have sort of fractured relationships with both of your parents.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Josh's mum's going to be there.
Yeah, mum's going to be there. We gave her a call the other day, said with my mum, it's all good. Haven't heard anything from my father at the moment. But, yeah, we have had a bit of an up and down with my mum and dad, that's for sure.
Have you reached out to your dad to let him know that this is happening?
Yeah, we have. And
haven't gotten anything
back from him, nothing.
Would you want your parents at your wedding, or is this part of, like, you know, if they're not as much part of your lives, or that doesn't matter because you've got each other, you've got your own families now?
Me personally, no, I don't want my parents there. I made a decision a very long time ago that I was going to step out of that sort of family dynamic. It wasn't a nice one, so I decided to step out for me and my children. I did reach out to Josh's mum and dad and his sister as well to let them know that we're getting married and that to save the date sort of thing. And yeah, his mum replied, thank gosh. But we're still waiting.
So we hope they'll be there.
I'm hopeful, but you know, at this point in time, we're limited to what we can say. So,
and you know, it might also be hard for us to get them to a wedding if we say that they have to dress up in something ridiculous or they have to skydive in. Well, like, I think already we're learning so much about you guys. You're so open. You're so candid.
Yeah.
You're obviously very in love. Your kids are obviously really excited.
I know, he's gorgeous.
I know, right?
Yes.
Like, stunning, man.
My God.
You're beautiful.
All right, so the wedding you built, Lisa and Josh, an absolute pleasure having you on today. We're all behind you, and I can tell you we've got so much to get through and so many elements of your wedding for people to vote on. You're going to find out exactly where we're going to begin for people to start voting on the extreme things we have planned.
Awesome. That's cool. We're waiting to hear that.
So excited.
That's for sure.
All right.
Make it really, really, really great.
Yeah.
Oh, we will.
Go for gold.
It's Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins.
Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins presents The Wedding You Built.
It's a love story, baby, just say yes.
Josh and Lisa are getting ready to be married live on our show for a full legal wedding where they have absolutely no choice over anything that happens at the event. Some might say it's a great thing because to take away the pressure to plan your wedding for you is fantastic, right? Because it's a lot of pressure on couples to get everything right. So that part's the easy part, except they have no idea what the people of WA will vote for, and they could have some pretty awful things happen at their wedding.
Absolutely awful. And they have said to us that the last time we did this, we didn't go hard enough, according to them.
No, see, last year we
apparently.
held the op shop wedding with Lisa and Troy. That was all op shop gear. But the year before was Lizzie and Dylan, where we did vote on aspects of their wedding. And, I mean, you know, we're talking like when it was the honeymoon, they were dreaming of some beautiful things at the honeymoon, weren't they? They were like, oh, we could go to Bali, or we could, except, you know, what they ended up with was the motel near the airport.
The Great Eastern Highway Motel.
Yeah, just on the...
Which, I can't remember what Lizzie said, something like about her skin crawling or something.
She was worried about bed bugs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We had to vote on the wedding venue, which could have been a resort. It could have been a bowls club, or it could have been a roller-drome with chips and a hot dog. Yeah,
but, you know, everyone decided that year that they'd give them a nice venue, but maybe, you know, maybe make their lives more difficult on other options.
Well, there was the transport, right? Now, this was really interesting because the transport was, and this was how for the bride, how she was going to get down the aisle, or towards the aisle, rather, and it was either going to be an inflatable horse or a wheelbarrow pushed by me or a ride-on lawnmower. Now, she was gunning for the ride-on lawnmower, which ultimately she ended up getting.
Dreams do come true,
Yeah,
kids. You can have everything you've ever wished for your wedding.
I'm gutted that, because you're the celebrant, and you will be again this year, I'm gutted that you didn't end up in the VB can.
Me too, because they did choose my outfit and I had to dress as Elvis, which was good fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. The photos look hilarious because when you look back at the photos, the groom ended up having to dress as Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit.
Oh, my goodness.
And I
yeah.
was dressed as Elvis, and Lizzie, the bride, was there in her 80s gown. So you looked at the photo and you thought, what is happening here?
It was fantastic. But again, like as we mentioned, our couple this year, Lisa and Josh, said we didn't go hard enough. So we are pulling out all of the stops for some of the choices that you are going to hear about and that you're going to be voting on later on this week.
I've had a look at some of the categories and some of the things that we're looking at or considering, and there's going to be no flow to this wedding. It's really going to... I think
it's like rolling the dice, isn't it?
I really think it could be a mess.
Yeah. So here's the things, right? Now, the voting starts from Wednesday, so make sure you're listening to the show. We're going to be voting on the venue. We're going to vote on how the bride, Lisa, is going to arrive to the venue. And also, really, really important one, we're going to be voting on what she's going to wear on the day.
Some people dream of their wedding dress. They've been thinking about this since they were little girls.
Yeah.
And yet, here we are.
And Lisa and Josh, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
And we're
Can
pulling
you
out.
trust the people of WA? We'll see.
All right, so Wednesday, the voting all starts from then.
Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins. 6 to 9 weekdays. Pete and Kymba with Ben Cousins are off to spoil mum this Mother's Day with a huge range of big brand fragrances at the lowest prices at Chemist Warehouse. Shop in store or online now.